hell. And it seems like the world elites are trying to open a gateway to hell in many ways. I mean, they got CERN opening constantly little portholes constantly over and over and over again. And it's amazing how truth is stranger than fiction. I mean, that sums up this show pretty easily. So the show Stranger Things really analyzes that stuff, and it brings this little girl to meet these young boys or whatever in 1983, and it's all this, crazy stuff's going on. There's a missing boy, and there's a sheriff trying to find him, and it's basically he stumbles into all this black project stuff and what's going on, and it's an underground thing in like another dimension, and it all kind of ties all up in 8 episodes. And that's really good because I never have enough time to watch TV or episodes long enough to keep up with anything. So 8 episodes, 8 hour-long episodes is basically what it is, and it really ties it up in a bow, and it's really good ending. It's just like watching an 8-hour movie, basically. So it's really good. I like it anyway. I don't know. I'm sure someone out there is going to judge me because I'm a Christian and I'm watching the worldly TV shows. But, I'm sure somebody out there who might be judging me is also listening to music that goes against their Christian faith, or watching movies that goes against their Christian faith, or doing things of sinful acts that goes against their Christian faith. So don't judge me, you can judge yourself, and let's just not worry about that right now, okay? I'm just analyzing something. So getting on with it now, this show has some Illuminati symbolisms that I can see because I'm a Christian, and they're basically, the girl, she has a number for her name because she's a lab rat, basically, the little girl. Her name is 11. Well, that is according to Aleister Crowley, that's a high number in magic, like witchcraft, evil, Satan worship kind of stuff. So her name basically is not a good thing. Just the number is an occult number. So that right there is a big sign, symbolism right there. And also at the beginning of the show and kind of throughout, these kids are talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And also they're talking about Lord of the Rings a lot, or The Hobbit, which also has wizardry. And also, whether people consider it Christian or not, I don't care. There's a wizard in it, and the Bible says, "There shall not be found among you a wizard, a sorcerer," and all these different things, a witch, all these things. The Bible says that. So if you think that, you're a Christian and watching The Lord of the Rings is going to make you, that that's okay. That's still not okay, because it still goes against what the Bible says is right. These little symbolisms in the show, whatever, I understand they're worldly things, and I see them for what they are. They're not, I don't agree with them. So, anyway, the show really deals with, though, a government that's out of control. And they're able to just do whatever they want. And this little girl is basically like their slave, and they're just using her. And there is a little bit of this, she's kind of thinks this agent or whatever who's controlling her, or the scientist or whatever, who's controlling her basically, is like a father to her. And so she doesn't want to turn on him and use her powers against him, because I think she needs family and she feels like she needs a family. And that's kind of how the show kind of uses it. And it's kind of like mind control in that sense. And it is kind of satanic ritual abuse almost. It's almost a mirror of that. Now, there's not a bunch of satanic signs or any of that stuff, but that's basically kind of how they use that. In real life, that's a real thing. The Monarch Project, it's basically mind control. And it comes from Nazis. That's where that came from. Nazis that we brought into our country, and Russia also brought some into their countries. All the Nazi scientists, basically, from the Nazi war, they basically won the Nazi war, because we wouldn't have NASA if we did not have Nazis. So Nazis basically started NASA. So you can thank Nazis for that. And there's a bunch of experiments that the Nazis did that we wouldn't have half the stuff that we have in technology if we didn't bring Nazis into our country. So we basically sold our soul after that war and basically joined them. So I don't know what anyone thinks that how we won the war against the Nazis. We really lost it because that's when we cowered and basically said, you know what, through Project Paperclip, we'll just bring these people into our country and just integrate them into our country and let their projects continue forward because we can use them for us, you know, like evil projects turned good suddenly. But anyway, the show really analyzes this other dimension, and they call it the Upside Down in the show. But that's not, I don't think that there's any real, in reality, I don't think there's a real type of group of people. Well, I shouldn't say that. CERN is doing stuff with kind of dimensional stuff out there. And there is some quantum computing, I guess, this computer system that's out there that kind of opens small portholes to get information to pass back and forth. And that's kind of strange, and I don't know a whole lot about it. What I do know is they call the dimension the Upside Down. So, I mean, think about that. I mean, the opposite of this dimension is the Upside Down, kind of like the opposite of heaven is hell, you know. So I guess there is some significance to the name, kind of. And that would be maybe another Illuminati type of symbolism kind of thing. Which, in everything we see nowadays, there's a lot of symbolism. So you could, if you're a Christian and you're awake and you're aware of what's going on in the world, you'll really see all this stuff in everything you watch. So it's really out there. And a lot of science today really just kind of goes back to the days of Babylon, when they were trying to open a gateway into heaven, to storm the gates of heaven, literally. And that's why all the people on the earth were of one language and one mind, to basically storm the gates of heaven and take over heaven. Because basically back then, they were trying to do what we're trying to do today. Nothing's changed. We're trying to storm the gates of heaven again. We're trying to make war on God. And, of course, it's because Satan's whispering in our ear again, telling us, oh, we can live forever, just do as thou will, you know, all the whole satanic promises of garbage, all the lies. But anyway, I'm going to play another clip here, and this one really comes into the dowsing, where they're in the tank, and basically they do the remote viewing from a tank. And this is what our government did. This is real. This is totally fact. You can look this stuff up. This is what our government really did. And it's just like what happens in this Stranger Things TV show. Exactly. So check this out.
We were doing remote viewing in general for the U.S. military, specifically for Army INSCOM, Intelligence and Security Command. And then it turned out that rather than getting descriptions of particular sites, they had a lot of requirements, operational requirements for finding things. For example, a bug in a room, the location of a downed plane, location of an individual, an agent, say. And so they asked us, could we do the inverse of remote viewing? Rather than having a case where we knew where the location was, what was there, this was a case of, well, we know what it is we're looking for, we just don't know where it is.
We were tasked on various hostage situations in the Middle East, whereas Terry Waite, whereas Colonel Higgins, whereas a number of other hostages that were being held by Hezbollah and some of their friends. And we could actually describe the setting that these people were in, but when it came to actually putting our finger on a map and saying they're here, we were not able to do that. And so we started looking into ways of doing this, and one of those things we hit on was dowsing. I found out later that we were in a way reinventing the wheel, because in the early days of the remote viewing program, they had experimented with dowsing as well, tried some things out. But in transition from one set of personnel to another, some of that institutional knowledge had gotten lost, and so here we were trying to rediscover that. And another book was published called The Divining Hand by Christopher Bird, become kind of the handbook of dowsing. And it's very well written, but it had some startling revelations in it. It noted that a certain dowser named Louis Metaxas had actually taught the U.S. military how to douse during Vietnam, searching for hidden tunnels, searching for landmines, booby traps, and things like that. And that, in fact, there was even a newspaper article published that reported on the Marines actually using this skill in Vietnam to some success.
We built a combat village to train troops who are going to Vietnam. They taught the Marines in Camp Pendleton. I taught the ones at Camp Lejeune, they went over there. I taught the Marines at Quantico. I'll tell you what they found that I never even knew, which I thought was very significant. They found the communication system of the Viet Cong. He said the Viet Cong bury their orders in bamboo tubes and put them under the trail. I said, "You're kidding." He said, "No." He said, "They found them." See, once you tell the Marines the system and they learn it, all they do is turn them loose and they'll find it, whatever you want to find. They knew these guys were dowsing everything in the book. Once you show them and they get results, then they're pretty well believers.
So dowsing was really used by our military in the Marines heavily back then. And I mean, it sounds to me like they became professionals at this. I mean, they were really doing it. And if any kind of smart military, if they know something works, they're not going to get rid of it. Now, in the public side, they'll probably say, "Oh yeah, we got rid of that because, that wasn't kosher or wasn't very good or seemed a little strange." No, they're not going to get rid of it. They're only going to enhance it. Just like mind control, the MK Ultra stuff, which is Project Monarch or whatever, and all that stuff. They're not going to get rid of it. And people today, they think, "Oh, there's no such thing as mind control." Really? Are you insane? I mean, think about it. If the Nazis were trying it out, and they had a system for breaking the mind and basically making you not know that you're under mind control, that's the creepiest part. They'll actually break your mind. They'll actually give you multiple personalities, and they'll have one personality that's working for them. And the other personalities won't even know that other personality. So it'll be like literally all of a sudden you'll be doing something, and all of a sudden a lapse of time happens, and you'll be like, "What happened? Now it's 6 o'clock in the afternoon, And basically that missing time was when that other person or other being that they basically broke you using basically satanic ritual abuse, where they basically traumatize your brain or give you trauma or pain or whatever, and they break you. It's like a trauma-based mind control. That's basically what it is. It's trauma. They give you lots of trauma, and your mind can't handle it, so it breaks into another personality, per se, And that other personality, they control that personality, and it just goes into this. It's really creepy. And the movie Captain America Winter Soldier really brought this really far out there. I mean, that was a world-renowned movie people know about and like and everything, and that movie had MK Ultra right in it. I mean, they straight up show you it and show you how they did it, and it's actually kind of sad in some spots when you see this guy getting electrocuted because he's going under again, and they're trying to mind control this guy. And they also have key words that they'll whisper. Like, you'll be talking on the phone or whatever, and you'll hear certain words that'll come up, like, the Wizard of Oz statements, or down the rabbit hole, or some strange stuff like that. And you'll hear that stuff, and then all of a sudden you're snapped into that next person, that next character. And I think this stuff is flooded throughout the whole world right now. I mean, down to like people like Beyonce. She says she turns into another person, Sasha Fierce, when she goes on stage. I mean, what's that sound like to you? I mean, that's a little creepy. That sounds like the alternate personality. And really what this is a demon being put inside of you. That's really what it is. It breaks you so that you can have multiple demons inside of you, and demons are possessing you and controlling you. And that's basically what it is. And they can also do this through medications and drugs.